Yes, yes, they are still in the project phase because sabi ko kanina, they are still under the research and development. So nag-experiment pa lang sila or hindi nila alam kung ano yung tama or mali sa ginagawa nila. They are a project. Yes, they're still testing out their initiative or their technology. Yes, they are disruptive, no? Because sino ba naman yung makakaisip na pwede palang gawin yun? Pwede pala yung train ay mag-hover around or above the car, no, para maiwasan yung traffic, no. But they are not scalable, right? Meaning they are you kapag na-set up na ni China to, ano yung probability na pwede mo rin siyang dalin sa Pilipinas, right? With the amount of money you need, with the amount of resources that you need, with the environment that you must have to set up that kind of technology, hindi siya ganun ka-scalable. Okay? And then fourth is OLX, no? And when we say OLX, yes, they are scalable because kahit saang part ka ng Pilipinas or ng mundo, pwede mong i-access dahil nasa website lang sila, no? Type mo lang www.olx.ph. It's very scalable. It's very disruptive because before, di ba, nung mga tito, tita or mga tatay, nanay natin kapag nagba-buy and sell, nasa dyaryo lang lahat yan. Now, it's all in the website. No? But they are no longer a project. Okay? When we say project, again, they are still testing out the business model and trying to figure out paano sila kikita. With OLX, they are no longer a project. Ibig sabihin, alam na nila kung anong gusto nilang gawin, alam na nila kung paano sila kikita, at alam na nila yung mga features that they need to offer to the customer. Okay? Now, that's a clear example or explanation of why these four organizations or businesses are not startups. No. Now, my challenge right now is I want to ask everyone, can you name any startups in the industry or in na meron tayo right now? Food Panda, great. That is a startup. Shopee is also a startup. Service type, let's see. Ano yung service type na meron ka? Grab. Grab is still considered a startup. No? Bakit? Because they are still offering different products. No? GNT, I don't think they are a startup. Amazon, we cannot consider them as startup anymore because they passed the project part. No? In Instagram, airlines, I don't think they're a startup. TokTok is a startup. Alibaba, I'm not sure if they are a startup because medyo established na sila, di ba? Hindi na sila project. LBC is not a startup, no? Foodpad, Twitter. Twitter can still be categorized as startup because they are still, exploring different features. Kumu, very happy to know na merong participants here that knows Kumu and Paymongo. They are our startups, Filipino startups to be exact, no? And they are one of the leading startups in the Philippines. No? Gcash, of course, is so there's a question here. Can you explain again why is Sari Sari Store cannot be considered a startup business? Because when we define startup again, it should be a project. Sari Sari Store is no longer a project because alam na nila kung anong ginagawa nila. And when you're building a project, hindi mo alam kung anong gagawin mo, di ba? Hindi mo alam kung paano ka magsisimula. And you are normally most of the time experimenting. Kaya hindi sila startup. They are not scalable because hindi madaling i-scale papunta sa ibang lugar or para mag-create ulit ng another business or ng another sari-sari store, kailangan mo na malaking budget, no? And they are not disruptive because they have been in the industry for quite some time and it's more of like a traditional kind of business. Okay, now again, let me define what's the definition of startup and SMEs. Okay, now full disclosure, we are not saying that startups are better than SMEs. No, walang ganon na discussion. Both are like, parang are helpful in the economy if they provide job, no, and stuff like that. Walang magaling or maayos or maganda sa dalawa. But if you have tech inclinations, no, kung magaling kayo sa tech, no, if you're a developer, or if kung plano nyo mag-take ng dev courses, no? Building a startup can be an impactful and exciting way to start an entrepreneurial venture. No? Kung nandun kayo sa linyahan ng tech, no? Kung idol nyo si Elon Musk, kung idol nyo si Mark Zuckerberg, si Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, or si kung sino-sino pa naman mga sikat na tech founders in the country or in the world, no? Building a startup is always impactful and exciting. Okay? And remember, startups are um, helpful and make business more meaningful for industry and actually traditional business. No, minsan, yung mga startups, yung tumutulong talaga sa mga SMEs. No? Like Grab, tinutulungan niya yung mga maliliit na food company, right? To expand their reach and increase their income. No? And no, what makes a startup? No? Now that I explained, so sorry, may another question. So kung mawawala ang isa sa tatlo, hindi na natin siya tatawagin startup. Ideally, yes. No. But then again, as mentioned kanina, when you try to take a look at the definition of startup in the internet, no, sa Google, walang unique or walang common definition. But as at Kubo and as at IdeaSpace, we have been working with different startups for quite some time already, for 10 years. No? And we think na itong katatlong criteria na to ay meron or nandun lagi sa isang startup. No? So ibig sabihin, if it's not a project that, I mean, kung isa sa tatlo ay mawala, then we can't call them a startup. Okay? That's how we view it. No? That's how we define startup in the community. No? So, going back, no, what makes a startup? Ano ba yung nasa loob or paano ba gumawa ng isang startup? Right? I want you to what's this? Take note or keep in mind this 5 recipe to create, or ingredients rather, to create a good startup. Now, 1 is idea, 2 is business model, team, funding, and time. Okay? Now, isa-isahin natin siya. No? When we say idea, of course, hindi ka naman makakapag-create ng any business kung wala kang idea. Right? But in startup, no, if you want to create startup, your idea needs to be disruptive. No? There is a need for startups to have deeper understanding of the problem you are addressing. Dapat mahal mo yung problem na sinosolve mo and the market that you're trying to serve and the solution you want to provide. No? Dapat alam mo yung problem that you want to solve, the solution that you want to provide, and the market that you are trying to serve, or the people that you want that you want na sila yung gagamit ng product, right? Disruptive, when we say disruptive, doesn't just mean that the solution is different from the current solution, no, na ina-address ninyo. But it also means that the solution na ina-offer nyo ay kakaiba sa solution na meron tayo right now. No, it can be different in terms of how efficient and how effective it is to address the problems of the customer. No. Now, take note that when you create idea or when you try to come up with an idea, ito yung lagi natin tinitingnan. They provide value and solve problems, because if your idea is not solving a problem, then therefore walang silbi yung business. No? Or if your business or if your idea doesn't provide any pleasure, then walang papansin sa inyong business. No? Remember, when creating a startup, it's either you solve a problem or you provide pleasure. No? Pleasure in a way na convenience, no? Mas madaling gamitin, mas nakakakagaan ng mga stress nila and stuff like that. Okay? It should be disruptive and it should be continuously tested. No? Hindi porkit meron na kayong idea agad, magsisettle na kayo agad-agad. No? It should always be continuously tested. No? That's one idea. Okay? Now, second ingredient that I wanna discuss is the business model. Okay? We talk about here how you see your business can be sustainable, no? And can earn income in delivering idea and solution. Of course, magbe-business tayo para kumita. no, para yumaman, in short, no. And if sa una pa lang hindi mo na ma-identify kung paano tayo kikita, no, then it's not gonna fly, no. Kaya importante na alam natin yung business model natin because finding needs and providing value and determining which customers are willing to pay for and that what makes the business model. No? And again, when we say business model, alam lang to, to simplify, alam natin kung sino yung magbabayad sa atin or kung sino yung customer natin. Alam natin kung paano tayo kikita at paano tayo mag-operate moving forward. Okay? And when we talk about business model, sobrang daming types of business model. There are different new ways that startup found to be effective at capturing value for users. Ibig sabihin, sobrang dami na raw na business model na pwede nating explore in the industry. Ano. That's marketplace. No? Marketplace is like Shopee. No? It's like Lazada. It's like Airbnb. No? That's what we call marketplace. They create platform where supply and demand meets. Okay? Then we have the freemium type of business model. Now, I'm just showing you some examples or yung mga pinaka-common na business model no, that we have in the ecosystem. When we say freemium, if you are using Netflix and Spotify, no, meron mga instances na up until here lang yung pwede ninyong gamitin or i-enjoy. No? And if you want to further more or parang you want to enjoy further the services of that product, kailangan nyo na magbayad. No? When you say freemium, you offer limited features for free. And if you want more features or unlimited use, you need to pay. Then there's subscription. No? Subscription is parang, yun nga, Netflix pala, sorry. Premium is more Spotify, subscription is more Netflix. No? When we say subscription, ito yung no free features, but merong recurring payments or merong monthly payments or regular payments. And once you paid that, no, every month or every quarter or every week, you get all the services and offers. Okay? Now, when you build your startup, ano ba yung business model natin? Ano? Again, these are like some examples, but napakaraming ways to explore your business model. Third ingredient that I want to discuss is, the team. No? Why? Bakit importante yung team? No? Okay, you have a good idea. You have a very effective business model. But if you don't have any team, then walang business na mangyayari. No? Take note that, it's okay na solo founder lang kayo at first. But eventually, you will need to find and build a team that will complement your skill and can help your business. Okay? So, inside a startup daw, dapat may team. No? And normally, ano ba yung nasa loob ng isang team? Ito yung tinatawag nating 3H. Okay? When we say 3H, ito yung hacker, hipster, and hustler. No? So, ito daw yung ideal mix of skills and roles in a startup. When we say hacker, you make the product. No? You make the technology work. When you say hustler, you are usually the business-minded person. You handle getting clients, you take care of partnerships, and you make the business side work. No? And when you say hipster, you are in charge of the design, not just aesthetically, but translating the product features to fit the needs of user. Okay? In short, pag ikaw daw ay hacker, ikaw yung gumagawa ng product. Pag ikaw yung hustler, ikaw yung nagbebenta ng product. And if you are the hipster, ikaw yung nagde-design ng product. Okay? Now, quick exercise. Anong H kayo sa tingin niyo? Are you a hacker? Are you a hustler? Or are you a hipster? Pwede namang parehas na hustler or na hacker, no? Or pwedeng wala kayo rito, right? And you need to identify or develop a skill that fits any rule in the 3H. Now, ano kayo sa 3H? Can everyone chat in the chat box? Norina, Modesto, Joshua are hustlers, and Francis. Kenneth are both hustlers and hacker. Hustler and hacker. No? Okay, let's see. Kung ano yung sa participants ko na right now, ano yung may pinakamarami? Noel is professional hacker. Okay, so far as you can see, hustler and hacker, customer. Phoebe is a customer lang daw. Hipster, ayan, meron ng hipster. Parang bumaba yung participation natin ah. How about the others? Ano kayo? A hacker, a hipster, a hustler? Ayan. So later on, alam mo yun, I hope everyone is taking down notes because sabi ni Madi kanina, meron daw 100 pesos na load no, for the winner. So meron ako mga questions later on na itatanong. And kung sino yung, of course, makasagot, sa kanila mapupunta yung prize, of course. Okay, great. And then the last two parts or the last two ingredients that makes a startup will be funding and time. Now, when we say funding, importante rin to, no? Okay, you have a good team, you have a good idea, you have a good business model, pero kung wala tayong funding, no? Magiging mahirap siya. Take note na kapag ikaw ay super early stage startup, meaning idea pa lang yung meron ka, no? We encourage you to find different ways to make your business as cost efficient if not free in the early days, no? Kung makakahanap ka ng mga free office space, free supplies, then therefore that's very cost efficient or mga cost efficient kind of deals like discounts, mga freebies, yung mga loans and stuff, no? In the early days of your startup development, yun yung ating um, gagawin, right? No? But you can use your savings then, of course, no? Or meron naman tayong kanina 3H. This one we call it the 3Fs, no? And when we say 3Fs, no? Ito daw yung mga unang tao na lalapitan mo para makakuha ka ng funding, no? We call them the friends, we call them the family, and we call them the fools, no? When we say friends and family, obvious naman, kung meron tayong mayaman na friends, or si daddy or mommy, mga mayaman, no, or may pera, pwede natin silang lapitan to get funding, no, or manghiram ng pera. Pero meron din tayong tinatawag na fools, no? When we say fools, these are your first customers. They are the first adopters. They are the first people who trust your crazy idea and believe you can actually pull it off on how you envision it. Okay? Now, pag nag-start ka pa lang, I want to give this a heads up, ano? Kapag of course, kapag eto na, yung sinabi ni John Carl, ni George, and ni Phoebe to entice, have investors, no? That's the ideal scenario eh, no? Kapag nagbi-business ka, kapag pinapalaki mo yung business mo, yun na agad yung thinking natin, ano? But we want you guys to avoid getting external funding at the beginning, right? Avoid getting investor at the beginning, no? Of course, friends and family, pwede mo silang tawagin investor, but not the real investor, no? Eventually, when you find that your idea makes sense and you have to expand, then therefore find an investor, no? But at the early beginning of your career, not advisable to get loans, to get investor, and similar steps like that, ano? Because why? When getting investor, napakalaking responsibility yan. And normally, kapag nag-apply ka ng loan, or kapag nag-ask ka ng investment sa mga investor, ang dami nilang hinihingi, no? Ang dami nilang nire-request. And when you are beginning or when you are starting pa lang, normally idea pa lang talaga yung puhunan mo, no? Yung puhunan mo talaga is passion, grit, no, time and energy. And that's not gonna fly or that hindi yan bibili ng mga investors or yun ng mga bangko, no? So take note of these 3Fs, no? Friends, family, and fools. And lastly is of course time, no? Even if you have this four, no? Ang ganda ng idea mo, kayo lang na nakaisip. Yung business model mo, sureball na yayaman or kikita ka rito. You have Elon Musk Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, Steve Jobs in your team, you have $10 million, no? But the most important thing then na hindi na normally na may missed out, no, is time, no? When you don't roll out in time, no, in a very good timing, then hindi siya magpa-fly, no? A good example here would be face mask. Pre-pandemic, kung nagbenta kayo ng face mask versus during pandemic, kung nagbenta kayo ng face mask, saan ang mas may pinakamalaking kita? Of course, during pandemic because may demand, right? Another example is halo-halo, no? Pag nagbenta kayo ng halo-halo during Christmas, may bibili kaya? Or mas merong bibili kapag nagbenta kayo ng halo-halo during summer, right? When we talk about time, it's when do you roll out, how efficient do you roll out, and what is the current state of the market. Okay? And I think in terms of like trying to identify whether this is the perfect time to launch a product or a business, ang daming platform na pwedeng magbigay sa inyo ng feedback. Right? You can take a look at the Facebook, Google, internet, no, and stuff like that. Ano. And you know, um, I want to I want you to take note na ideas are cheap, no. And normally mga Pilipino, kapag meron silang idea, ayaw nilang ilabas or ayaw nilang i-share kasi daw baka manakaw, no. Ideas are cheap, no. You don't have to hide your ideas so much in the fear that someone would copy it. And in the startup field, in the startup industry, whoever does it faster and better will get first advantage. Now, dito papasok yung concept na fail fast, learn fast, and fail cheap. Okay? And timing is always the key. Okay? According to this slide, no, ito daw yung top 5 factors in success. And may pinakamalaking factor is time. Okay? Okay. So that makes a startup, no? So we have idea, we have business model, we have team, we have funding, we have time. And I'll stop right there and ask any questions or ask anyone if may mga tanong. Again, feel free to post it in the Q&A box. But so far, I don't see any questions here. I hope everyone is still keeping up and everyone is still with me. If you guys have any question, again, just post it in the Q&A box. All right? Now that we're done with the what makes a startup, no? Alam niyo na kung ano ba yung dapat na meron kayo or yung mga ingredients to create a startup, no? The second question that I want to address would be how to start a startup. Okay? And you guys can see in your screen a process, no? And if you are familiar with this process, ano yung tawag natin dito sa process na to? Tinuro siya ng grade school. Sino kaya ang unang makakasagot? Now, take a look at the process. We have brainstorming, scientific process. There you go. Thank you so much, Phoebe. Chris, can we give something kay Phoebe as the first person to answer? I mean that's kind of hard question actually because when we ask people about it, medyo hindi nila alam or hindi sila aware. I'll discuss. I mean, Chris maybe or Maddie or Raj, maybe you can give something to Phoebe. Maybe sa kanya na yung 100, isang 100 load, no? But this is really a scientific process or a scientific method, no? This is very common because grade school pa lang diniscuss na natin to. No? So, when you create a startup, apparently you are actually using a scientific method. No? We start first with the brainstorming session. Then we make hypothesis. No? Once we have the hypothesis or the experiment, we test it out. Right? And in startup, dalawa lang yung kapupuntahan ninyo when you test out your product. It's either you pivot or you persevere. No? When we say pivot, ibig sabihin yung result ninyo medyo hindi naging maganda. No? and therefore you need to go back to brainstorming, no? And when you say persevere, approve the customer yung product ninyo. And therefore, you have to parang develop, move further your product, and eventually you're gonna proceed with the funding. Let's discuss them one by one, ano, para easy to understand and easy to remember. No, when we say brainstorm, that's the first step. Okay, we want you to fall in love with the problem and not the solution. Right? Common sa ating mga estudyante, naging estudyante rin naman ako and I'm guilty of this one. Common sa mga estudyante na kapag sinabi natin ng mga teachers na, okay, create a product, no, for our subject, no. Ang ginagawa natin, nag-iisip tayo agad ng solution before really thinking about the problem, no. And in startup, that's not how you build a startup, no. We want you to fall in love with the problem and not the solution. Why? Bakit? No. Sabi daw nila, kapag nagmamahal ang isang tao, nagiging matigas ang ulo natin. No? Hindi tayo nakikinig sa mga payo ng iba. No? And when we fall in love with the solution or product or service, yun yung palaging nababago sa isang business, right? But never the problem. Never the problem. Never nabago yung problem. No? When you're so in love with your solution, hindi ka na makikinig sa mga advice ng mga mentors, no, sa mga sinasabi ng mga customers, but rather ipagpipilitan mo lang talaga na okay, ito yung solution na gusto ko. Ito yung solution na makakasolve sa problem. When in reality, if you're in love with your problem, ile-let go mo lang yung sasabihin nila, hindi yung solution na kailangan ko. No? Ito yung solution na kailangan ko. And makikinig ka lang. Because you're in love with the problem. No? Your goal is to solve the problem and not to create the solution that you have na pinagpipilitan mo. No? So, that's right, no? John Paul Rabi. Every problem, ang daming solution. And it's just a matter of whether this solution is applicable to the market that you are solving. All right? I love this participants. No? I love the 381 participants. You guys are very participative. And thank you so much for that. No? So again, step 1, brainstorm. No? What makes for a good problem? No? Ano ba yung good problem? No? Ano ba yung, paano natin tatawagin good problem yung isang problem? 1, it's based on the needs and pains na meron sa yung market, no, sa customer mo. 2 is people are willing to take action to solve it, no. If you're solving a problem na kahit isang tao wala namang pakialam, then you have to question yourself, is this the right problem that you want to solve, or is this really the problem that or is this really the actual problem that we need to solve, right? 3 is it should be within your scope of expertise, influence, or interest. No? Don't solve any problem na wala ka naman palang pakialam. Don't solve any problem na hindi naman pala connected sa'yo. No? Don't solve any problem na hindi mo naman pala na-experience. No? And the fourth is the hugot, or the factor, or the hugot factor rather. No? Or the empathetic attitude. No? You need to empathize. You need to connect dun sa problem na sinosolve niya. No? You cannot solve a problem na never niyo pa na-experience. Okay? And that's what makes a good problem. That's step 1. Step 2, it's all about making a hypothesis. No? Now that you have identified your problem, what's your solution? No? Okay, my problem is about traffic in Zamboanga City, particularly sa tapat ng KCC. No? Nung nasa Zamboanga ako, bago mo ako sa KCC, and parang, I forgot the hotel, pero malapit na siya sa KCC, and parang 30 minutes yata kami doon. No? So this is my problem. What's my solution? I'm gonna hire 5 traffic enforcer. Lalagay ko sa bawat kanto. I'm gonna set a color coding scheme. I'm gonna develop an app where you can find the best route, no, papunta sa lugar mo, no, etc., etc. you need to define as many solutions as possible. Let's not stick to one solution at all because again, that solution can either be good or bad, but most of the time it's going to be bad, right? So try to identify as many solutions as possible, whether that's a practical solution or a crazy idea solution. Okay? And normally, when you make a hypothesis, we use business model canvas. No? I'm not going to discuss business model canvas because this is too advanced, and most of you might not be parang malamang or most of you baka hindi pa ganun ka-familiar about startup, no? Then therefore, hindi nyo ma-appreciate yung business model canvas. But what I'm trying to say here is this is a tool that we use and gives a bird's eye view of the whole business, no? It describes the rationale of your organization, how do you create, deliver, and capture value, no? Normally, business model canvas is a great tool to identify the all parts of your business and to identify experiments. Okay? Once you have your solution, no, then check business model canvas in the internet, no. But I think BICT will also organize a business model canvas session with the participants of the Philippine Startup Challenge. No? So if ever you're gonna be part of the Philippine Startup Challenge, no, baka magkita-kita ulit tayo, or you guys can always attend QBO events. No, we do business model canvas 101. No, but for now, let's stick to this method on how to start a startup, and we're on step 2. No, now that you have a problem, now that you have the solution, what's your next goal? No, of course, your next goal is to get out of the building and check. Meron bang customer na gusto yung solution ko? No. And dito na papasok yung step 3, no, which is to test it out. And when we say test it out, vocabulary alert, there's minimum viable product involved, or we call it MVP, right? Meron din tayong tinatawag na traction. No, when we say MVP, it's the least amount of effort in order to validate whether there is a demand for your product. Okay? Pag sinabi nating MVP, gumagawa, dinedeliver mo yung service mo through a product, no? Right? Now, when we say, now, 2 reasons for MVP, or bakit pa importante magkaroon ng MVP, no? Or the minimum viable product, no? And again, it's the least amount of effort, no, in order to validate kung meron bang demand sa product mo. No, one reason why MVP is very important is because you're gonna know if there are people interested to use your product. 2 is you're gonna know if the features that you have will work or not. Okay? A good example is a skateboard, no? Ano ba yung purpose ng skateboard? Sorry. A good example is a car, no? Ano ba yung purpose ni car? Car would parang lets you go to place A to place B, no, nang mabilis. And that's the goal, no? That's the goal of your idea. That's the problem that you want to solve and the solution that you want to offer. And when you build an MVP, hindi naman tayo magsisimula sa gulong muna. Tapos pintuan, tapos susunod makina. Hindi ganun ang MVP. But rather, dapat ma-achieve mo yung goal mo, no? Kung car ang nasa isip ko, baka pwede mo na gumawa ng isang tabla na may 4 na gulong, no? Natatawagin kong skateboard. So it achieves the goal, di ba? When you use a skateboard, pwede kang pumunta sa point A to point B, no? Tapos sabi ni customer, ay gusto ko may hawakan. Eh di naglagay ako ng isang tubo na may handle. Natatawagin kong scooter. Okay? Again, na-achieve niyo yung goal, point A to point B, no? Sabi ni customer, nakakapagod tumayo, no? And medyo mas gusto ko mabilis. So gagawa ako ng 2 lang siguro yung gulong, tapos nakaupo, tapos may hawakan. Natatawagin kong bicycle. Mas mabilis, right? Nakaupo, no? Tapos bigla ulit pinilit ni customer. Pwede ba mas mabilis? No. Pwede bang tapos pwede bang meron akong angkas? Then therefore, pwede kong lagyan ng makina 'yon. na tatawagin kong motorcycle. No? You get my point? I hope you guys get my point. No? And tapos sinabi ni customer, mas gusto ko yung sobrang bilis. Tapos up to 4 yung kaya kong isakay. Tapos ano siya, safe siya. Na I will feel safe na nasa loob ako and stuff like that. No? I'll call it car. No? So ayun yung gusto kong sabihin when we say MVP. No? Hindi nyo paparty-partihin but rather gagawa kayo ng paraan para ma-deliver yung value na pinapangako ninyo. But at the same time, you know, getting feedback from the customer or checking kung meron bang demand. And when creating MVP, ang daming pwedeng ways to test out your product. No? Pwede siyang manual. No? Like for example, for example, there's a startup called Pinoy Travel. No? Pinoy Travel lets you book a bus ticket online. Kung pupunta ka ng Dipolog, galing kang CDO, tapos November 1, sobrang hirap mag-book ng bus, di ba? Kasi punuan. Si Pinoy Travel, nag-offer ng website na pwede ka nang doon bumili ng ticket para hindi ka na pumila. Tapos on the day na alis ka, pumunta ka na lang doon on time. No? Now, they tested out their product manually. No? When we say manually, yes, yung nakikita ni customer is website. Pero at the back of that website, ano yung nangyayari? Si Pinoy Travel Team yung bumibili ng ticket for you. No? Pero akala ni customer, uy, ang galing, automatic, automated. No? Ang bilis, pero hindi natin alam na sila pala yung bumibili ng ticket talaga at the back. No? And that is manually. No? So, I hope that's a good example. Ang sabi ko kanina, it's either you pivot or you persevere, no? After testing it out. Now, when you say pivot or persevere, the main question here is, nag-work ba siya or hindi siya nag-work? No? That's the main question that you need to answer. No? And oftentimes, no, not to parang hindi para takutin kayo, but 9 of 10 startups really fail. No? Startups are not limited by the location. The winner takes it all. No? And actually, again, 9 of 10 startups really fail. That's the reality of life. Ano? Sabi nga nila, creating a startup is like a walk in the park. No? But you are walking inside a Jurassic Park. Hindi siya mandali. Delikado siya, risky siya, but it's really worth it. No? If nakuha niyo yung right formula. Okay? So again, this is kind of advanced, no? But there are some people or organization that can help you in terms of funding. QBO and IdeaSpace, we brand ourselves as incubator and accelerator. Pero meron din tayong mga tinatawag na angel investor and venture capitalist. Sila talaga yung mga grupo na binuo to support and fund startups. No? But again, if you are in the early stage of your development, it's very not advisable to do it. No? Now, what I'm trying to say here, just to wrap up the first agenda for the afternoon, is that you need to continually test out your product or your solution. No? But again, we fall in love with the product, with the problem rather, and not the solution. Okay? Now, I'll stop right there. Sorry, meron pa palang other slide, because the main question is, so what now? Now that you know na I need to have an idea, aside from idea, I need to have business model, I need to have team, funding, and time for me to create a startup. What's next? No? Again, it's a continuous validation. Your goal sa early stage of your development is to really know kung meron bang bibili ng product ko or kung meron bang demand yung product ko or wala. Okay? Or stepping back no? Stepping back taking another step back, no? Ito bang problem na sinosolve ko ay karapat-dapat na isolve or dapat isolve or hindi naman talaga siya problema or ginagawa ko lang siya. No? Participate in different activities. Explore design thinking and validation board. If you are into books, there is this Lean Startup by Eric Ries. No? And build your team, no? The hipster, the hacker, and the hustler. Find people na magko-complement yung skill mo to create your business, no? And find some resources and funding, no? Sobrang daming free mentorship, free events, no? Meron pa mga competition na merong mga cash prize, di ba? Like Philippine Startup Challenge, like us, IdeaSpace-QBO, participate in that one. Okay? So sources, most of the things that I mentioned came from these books, no? So if you want to explore them, feel free. But validation and prototyping. If you have a startup or if you're trying to create a startup right now, take note that up to this very point, everything that you have talked about in your group have been a question that I want to answer here is that why do you need to validate the startup? Okay? Bakit importante na i-validate natin yung idea natin? Bakit importante na i-validate natin yung problem that we want to solve? Now, there are like two common ways or two approaches when creating a startup, no? It's either you validate first the idea and see if your solution can solve the problem, or you create a solution first and then look for a problem it could solve, no? And normally, of course, dun tayo sa naka-check mark, no? You want to validate the problem first and see if your solution can solve the problem. Okay? Now, I'll give you a good example. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the product now, of why we really need to validate an idea. No, and this is like a Google Glass. Okay? Google Glass is just one example of a seemingly good idea that was executed, but no one really wanted or needed it. No? So Google Glass is a wearable glass. No? It's a wearable computer featuring a head-mounted display in the form of eyeglasses like you guys can see in your screen. So nandyan yung ports niya. No, ano yung function ni Google Glass? No? It's a hands-free smartphone. Kapag ikaw yung user, pwede kang mag-internet, pwede mong i-access yung camera, yung maps, yung calendar, and other applications by voice command at nakikita mo siya agad sa screen or sa mata mo. No? Bakit nag-fail siya? No? Bakit, okay, ang ganda naman ng idea, pero bakit nag-fail? No? And here are the reason why. No? The main reason is because it wasn't properly validated. No? One is because it looked attractive, no, and meron mga safety and health concerns daw. It was ridiculously high priced at 1,500 USD, so that's around 70,000 to 70,000 to 75,000 pesos, ano. And you know, when it comes to safety and health concerns, sabi daw nila parang not everyone was comfortable with the idea of having a gadget that constantly emits this cold carcinogenic agent. No? Sabi sa mga pag-aaral daw, itong device na to, nag-e-emit ng carcinogenic agent that can cause cancer. No? Not only that, safety concerns in a way na, yes, doon na kaayos sa mata all the time. But at the same time, it raises some privacy and safety concerns, no? Because kapag pumunta ka sa isang coffee shop or restaurant, tapos yung kabilang table mo ay may suot na Google Glass, no? Hindi mo alam if, ano ba, nire-record ba ako ng taong to? Or pinipicturan? Or nire-record yung mga nag-uusapan namin ng mga friends ko, no? Or it can easily be parang yung mga piracy, no? Pwede mo siyang gamitin sa mga sinihan. So, suot mo lang. Yes, you can act like a spy, no? And things like that, no? So, medyo privacy concern talaga siya. Other than that, it's aesthetically unappealing. Sobrang hindi daw siya nice. Para lang siyang bakal na nasa mata mo. Tapos, hindi mo alam kung ito na ba yung final product talaga or hindi pa, no? And then, there was a little progress to bring the product out of the beta stage, no? So, nung mga unang release daw, nung mga unang weeks na ni-release yung Google Glass to its first weeks to first years, no? Hindi alam ng mga tao kung meron pa bang lalabas na bago. Because ayaw nga nila ng itsura. No? Hindi nila alam kung prototype lang ba to or MVP or ito na talaga yung product. No? There was also no clear function. Hindi nila alam para saan ba talaga to. Hindi nila alam kung kaya ko bang gumawa ng assignments dito or kaya ko bang mag-browse ng feature ng Facebook dito or mag-blog or mag-live. Hindi nila alam kung ano yung clear function. But ultimately, they had a bad marketing for this product. No? So sa umpisa pa lang parang pinag-isipan pero hindi nila vinalidate agad, no. Hindi nila na-realize na may privacy concern, may health concerns, no. And that was the main reason why hindi sila nag-fly, right? And sobrang mahal nila, 75,000 for that kind of product, no. Now, the answer to the question why we need to validate a startup is simply to avoid the number one startup mistake, no. And when we say number one startup mistake, ano to? They say number one startup mistake means um, creating, or when we say not the number one startup mistake, it says here na um, it you create something or you build something that nobody wants. No? And new ideas, especially disruptive ideas, have a very unpredictable elements. And if some of them go wrong, it can destroy your plans at once, no, or at all, no. And the purpose of idea validation is to make sure that your idea has real demand. Otherwise, there is a real risk of it becoming just another cool idea, no, or the idea must either be able to solve a real problem or fulfill its intended purpose or appeal to other incentives. Okay? Now, I'm not fully delve into the customer development process because it's kind of medyo mahaba-habang usapan to, no. But what I'm trying to say here is that ito raw yung process mo when you do validation or when you create business rather, no. And you always start with the left box, no, yung customer discovery and customer validation. And normally ito yung parang trap or parang cycle here. Ito yung sa search na part, no, medyo paikot-ikot pa kayo for the first weeks or for the first years of your journey. Because you try to really talk to different customer, you try to really validate your idea to your customer, no. And normally, it's not one time, big time. Hindi siya isang bagsakan rather, no. Hindi porket nagkaroon na kayo ng isang validation run, tapos na agad kayo. But rather, it's a cycle. Once you validate, you discover something new to your customer. Then you validate again. Then you discover another new stuff about your customer. Then you validate again, then discover and stuff like that. But once you perfect this area, no, you can always proceed to the execution part, no. Customer creation to company building, no. And when we see customer development process, it's all about understanding the problems and the needs of your customer. You want to gain more insights, no. As much as possible, gusto nating makakuha ng insights, feedback, suggestions, recommendations, and reactions from our customer para malaman natin kung attractive ba sa kanila yung i-offer natin. No. Now, but hindi ako mag-delve mostly on the customer development process, but I'll delve mostly on the validation process, no, which is similar to what I presented a while ago, no, yung scientific method. Okay? Now, there are 4 steps for you to validate your idea. And you guys can see it in your screen. 1 is to define your goal. 2 is to develop a hypothesis. 3 is to experiment and revise. And 4th is to validate and develop. No, one by one, we discuss it. No, and the first one is, again, define your goal. In your startup, no, napakadaming pwedeng i-validate. It could be the problem. Of course, laging yun yung una. It could be the solution. It could be the features of your product. It could be the business model, or could be the price, right? So the first step is really to define your goal. Ano yung gusto mong i-validate, no? And normally, kapag nasa early stage of development ka pa lang talaga, ang gusto mong i-validate would be the problem you are solving. Is your problem true or worth solving? Because if not, then not validated na agad yung solution nyo. Diba? Kung na-validate mo na yung problema hindi naman talaga totoong problema or hindi sa worth solving, then you were able to validate that so your solution is not gonna fly or walang gagamit ng solution ninyo. Because in the first place, wala namang problema or wala namang kailangan kasi walang may problema ng ganun. Or, once you validated your problem and sa tingin nyo na, okay, it's really happening and we really need to act on it. We really need to pursue and solve this problem. Then validate the solution. Is your product or offering gonna solve the problem? That's the main question. If not, then pivot. No? Palit kayo ng solution agad. Or you can also, once you have the solution, pwede mo ring i-validate yung feature ng solution mo or yung business model na to. No? Dapat ba may ganitong part or function yung aming solution? Dapat ba sa advertisement talaga kami kikita? Or pwede bang premium to? Or pwede pa tong subscription? Or the price, no? If I will offer 500 pesos per month, papatusin kaya ng mga customer namin, no? So just like any idea management related activity, validation starts with defining your goal, no? Decide what you want to learn and what aspects to validate, no? 2 is once you know what to validate, no, alam mo na, okay, we'll validate the problem or we'll validate the solution. Develop a hypothesis, no? And the key here is to start from the most critical assumption. Pag sinabi natin critical assumption, this is the one that's most likely to fail and would also have a direct consequences in your business. Okay? Ito yung pinaka-risky na kapag hindi nyo validate, hindi nyo malalaman kung ano yung dapat yung susunod na step. Right? Ito yung pinaka-importanting part of your business na dapat alam nyo na before doing other kinds of process or before proceeding to other processes. Okay? So, again, after you have defined your goal, it's time to develop a hypothesis based on that goal. No? A useful hypothesis is a testable statement which often includes prediction. No? Prediction in a way na kapag nagawa namin tong solution na to, may 1,000,000 tao na matutulungan kami. Kapag nagawa namin tong application na to, wala na kaming makikitang tao sa kalye na naghihintay ng taxi. Mga ganong prediction. Alright? Okay. So that's one. Ano? That's second rather. Develop a hypothesis. Ano yung dapat ninyong i-validate sa goal ninyo? No? If it's problem, no? If the problem is all about traffic in Zamboanga City, no? What's your most critical assumption? Ano? Dapat makita mo talaga na may traffic. No? Because if isipin mo agad na, or if you're gonna jump into parang nauubusan ng time yung mga tao dahil sa traffic without seeing the actual traffic, no? Then by the time na nag-validate ka at na-realize mo na wala naman palang traffic, then what's next, diba? You're doing it the wrong way. So you need to validate the most critical assumption, something that is most likely to fail and would have direct consequences. A good example is Grab. No? Another example rather is Grab. No? Yung validation nila is that parang meron ba talagang gustong sumakay sa sasakyan ng ibang tao, no? And they are gonna feel safe and effective, no? So they need to validate that part. That's the most critical assumption because before developing the product nila, dapat alam nila na may willing na sumakay sa stranger's car before developing the entire thing. Okay? And then the third one is experiment and revise, chapter 3. Item number 3, no? When we say experiment and revise, okay, you know the goal, you already have the hypothesis. No? The third step is basically um, paano mo i-validate yung idea na yun. Ano yung process mo? Ano yung steps mo? No? Are you gonna build an MVP? No? Are you gonna do interview or survey? Are you gonna do crowdfunding platform? Are you gonna do advertisement? Or are you gonna develop videos and stuff like that? No? Ano yung magiging steps mo? Ano yung magiging steps mo to validate mo? Or ano yung magiging experiment mo? And these are like some ways to validate your idea or the goal and your hypothesis. No? The point of your experiment is to find the fastest and cheapest way to test your assumption. Hindi mo kailangan bumuo ng application para malaman mo kung hindi magusto ba niya. But find the fastest and cheapest. You can just create a paper prototype, a landing page, or pwede kayong mag-interview, di ba? Or mag-conduct ng survey. Okay? Or you can either fake it till you make it, no? Parang yung ginawa ni Pinoy Travel, no? Up until mabuo nila yung platform, up until ma-validate nila yung product. Ganun at ganun pa rin. May mga tao na kapag nakakuha sila ng booking ticket, may pupunta dun sa bus terminal at sila yung bibili ng ticket, i-scan yung ticket, ibibigay dun sa tao. No? That's the fake it till you make it. Magpanggap ka na tumatakbo tong sistema mo and really make it happen. And then the last one is the validate and develop. Okay? When we say validate and develop, you are already done with the validation. No, you're already done with the experiment and you already have the result. Now, in this stage, you should confirm your assumption to be either true or false. No, either invalid or valid. No, if your idea has potential and the most critical assumption is correct, and then therefore you can start refining your idea. No, although take note that your validation is not always a guarantee of success. No, hindi porket isa or dalawang beses na kayo nag-validate tapos positive yung result, successful na agad kayo. Because at the end of the day, execution matters. On how you execute fast. Yan yung pinaka-importante in the startup world. But having validated the most critical assumption and using the data na nakuha mo during your validation process is definitely helpful when you start developing and implementing your idea. Okay? Now, there's a tool that I want to share with you guys, and we call it Simplified Validation Board. So once you have your idea, and if ever you're going to join Philippine Startup Challenge, this is going to be a helpful tool for everyone. And hopefully you guys can take notes, no? Para later on, if you want really to build a startup, you know na how to validate, no, your idea or your solution. Okay? Now, this is the Simplified Validation Board. No. As you can see, it's very simple from the title itself. You only have to parang come up with a table with 2 columns and 8 rows. No, and in the simplified validation board, there is the customer segment, there's the problem, solution, experiment, success metric, the result, and action. Now, you can see there the definition, but I'd like to discuss this one in by giving you a good example or a concrete example. Ano. Now, imagine that I have a startup or I'm a startup founder. No? And my idea is a smart diaper. Okay? Then, smart diaper daw is parang the problem that I want to solve is parang ay, nandito pala sa slide ko. So, this is the idea that I have. Ano? And I have to validate if the smart diaper is gonna work or gonna be entertained by the customer or the market or not. So, sa startup ko, yung customer that I wanna target would be women in 30s. Mga babaeng nasa 30s, nakakapanganak pa lang. Either 1-year-old or less yung kanilang baby. So, that's very clear. Right? Wala akong pakialam kung nasaan sila. But ang importante sa akin, 30s na merong baby. Okay? Regardless of whether nasa Manila ba sila, nasa Visayas or Mindanao or Luzon. Okay? As long as babae, nasa 30s and merong baby. That is my customer. That's very clear customer segment. Okay? The problem that I have, no, my hypothesis is that itong mga customer na tina-target ko, wala raw silang way or paraan para malaman if yung baby nila, kailangan na nilang palitan yung diaper. Okay? Unless they will check it. So, that's my problem statement. Yun yung very simple problem statement ko. And the solution that I have, just to explain what smart diaper is all about. Smart diaper lets you notify the mothers when it's about time to change it. So, it's an IoT device na pag sinuot mo yung diaper kay baby, meron kang application na kapag nag-poo or nag-wee-wee si baby at napuno yung diaper, may notification na, hey, mommy, your baby's diaper is already full. Time to change it. That's my solution. Now, I already have the problem. I already have the solution. And I need to validate these two. Okay? Now, ito yung experiment ko or ito yung parang ways ko to validate my problem and to validate my solution. I have to interview 100 mothers at 30s, no, who have less than year old baby. So, ayun yung process ko to know whether the problem that I have and that the solution that I have is something or something that's gonna work or feasible siya or entertain nila. Kailangan ko mag-interview ng 100 women or 100 mothers at their 30s na merong babies. Paano ko malalaman kung successful itong experiment na to? No. Simple lang. Out of the 100, kailangan 60 doon yung magsabi na, yes, I need that. As simple as that. No. Parang sa exam. When you set success metric for your validation, dapat above the half, right? Because yun na yung parang pasado na, di ba? Parang majority wins, kumbaga. No? Dapat sa experiment ko, 60 sa 100, yung magsasabing, yes, kailangan namin ng ganyan. Okay? Now, buo na yung aking experiment. No? Alam ko na yung gagawin ko. Alam na ng mga teams ko yung gagawin nila. So for 2 weeks, we will really just interview 100 mothers. No? Now, 2 weeks later, nag-meeting kami ulit ng mga teams ko and tried to review kung ano yung mga sagot ng mga mothers, ano yung feedbacks and insights nila, and ano yung result of our experiment. No? And it turned out that the result of our experiment was only 30 of them wants to get an alert. No? Sabi namin, geez, 30 lang out of 100 yung gustong magkaroon ng alert. No? So what should be our action? Anyone? Can anyone recommend what should be our action? Chat it in the chat box. 30 lang yung nagsabing 30 out of 100. Yung nagsabing, yes, kailangan namin yan. What should be our action? Should we pivot or should we persevere? Should we stop or should we pursue? Or what? No. Pivot. Correct. Bakit pivot? No? Because the mothers don't like the idea. If itutuloy namin tong idea na to, of the 100, 30 lang yung gagamit niyan and hindi kami kikita. Of the 1,000, 300 lang yung gagamit niyan. Of the 10,000, 3,000 lang yung gagamit niyan. Of the 1 million, 30,000 lang yung gagamit niyan. No? Which is very low. No? So, we wanna try to review all the notes that we have during the interviews with the 100 mothers. Ano ba yung gusto nilang mangyari? No? Or ano ba talaga yung nangyari? No? And therefore, we have experiment number 2. When we say experiment number 2, this is an improved version of our experiment number 1. No? But firm kami na team. No? Firm yung team namin na yung customer namin will still really be women in 30s who just had a baby. No? But after looking at the different notes that we have as a group, no, we found out something. No, we found out that the mothers are not really busy. Sorry, that the mothers are busy and they don't have time to monitor the diaper. Ayun naman pala yung pinaka-problema nila. No? Busy sila, kaya wala silang time to monitor the diaper. Okay? Mali yung problema na walang way to find out kung puno na yung diaper. But rather, meron, it's just that wala silang time. Okay? Wala silang time because nasa 30s nga sila, di ba? So kalagitnaan yun ng career nila and maybe they have a full-time job, no, na everyday kailangan nilang lumabas or magtrabaho and stuff like that. No? And then therefore, nag-brainstorm kulit kami ng team and check. So if ayaw nila ng smart diaper, ano yung kailangan nila? Or ano yung pwede nating ibigay that can solve their problem? No? And tada, we thought of a Yaya Finder app. So from smart diaper device, we shifted to a Yaya Finder mobile application. That's gonna help mothers find Yaya to help them take care of their babies. No? Sobrang layo, di ba? From smart diaper na merong device, na merong application, to just a Yaya Finder app. No? Very simple. No? Now, we still need to validate this Yaya Finder app kasi hindi pa rin namin alam kung game ba to or magiging effective ba to, no? But iibahin na namin yung experiment namin because nakapag-interview na nga kami ng 100 eh. Hindi na ulit kami nang mag-interview ng 100 mothers. Redundant lang, no? But rather, pinag-isipan naman na namin itong Yaya Finder app. And therefore, why not create a website wherein may landing page doon na we can showcase the mobile app na. So parang it goes something like yayafinder.app or yayafinder.com. Tapos one page lang sila talaga, no? It's really a landing page na nakalagay, hey, do you need Yaya for your baby? We are launching our Yaya Finder app soon. If you want to get more updates, sign up. Okay? Now, yung aking success metric is that dapat 75% of the people na mag-visit ng website would sign up. No. Sign up means iiwanan nila yung email address nila because they want to get updates. No. So yun yung parang mechanism ko or mechanism namin para malaman namin na okay, pag nag-sign up ka, interesado ka. No. Dapat 75%. So ibig sabihin, kung may 100 na magre-visit ng website, dapat 75 doon nag-sign up. No. And there, we created the website, opened it for 3 weeks, and during that 3 weeks, there were 1,000 foot traffic. There's 1,000 visitors. No. And we were very happy with the result. Why? Because out of the 1,000, 90% signed up. So ibig sabihin 900 out of the 1,000 nag-sign up, no, na interested sila to get updates, meaning they want to know more about the product. And my action will be pursue. We will further develop the idea because we got good traction, we got good feedback, we got good sign-ups, we got good indicators na this is something that we can pursue or we can further develop. Now, there are so many ways to test out, again, your product. One is the landing page that I mentioned. No? Could be a Facebook page. Could be a website. Kung kaya nyo gumawa ng website, diba? Gawa kayo ng website. Landing page lang yan, tapos sign up sheet. Ano? Ang mahalaga doon is yung praise or yung wordings niyo. Dapat ma-capture yung interest. No? Hey, moms, we're offering this and that. No? If you're interested, sign up here. No? That's also the fake it till you make it kind of attitude na parang wala ka namang in-offer pa talaga pero gusto mo lang makakuha ng interest, no, before you do the next step, right? And then there's also event, no, if you're into events, alam mo yun, if capable ka organizing events, no, either you launch your product by organizing events or joining events, no? Kung sa tingin mo maraming magsa-sign up or maraming mag-entertain ng event, that's a validation, no? For crowdfunding, no? When we see crowdfunding, you are literally asking people for money. You are promising them to deliver this product, pero dapat mag-prepay muna sila, right? So we have so many crowdfunding platforms here. So parang humihingi ka ng tulong sa crowd or sa community, no? Or if you're into videos, then you can create explainer video like 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, or 30 seconds video that explains about your product. Ano. Ang importante lang kapag gagawa ng video is may call to action. At the end of the video, saan sila pupunta? No? At the end of the video, anong kailangan nilang gawin? Or ano yung gusto mong kailangan nilang gawin? No? For example, visit www.dropbox.com no, if you wanna know more about our product, right? And the last one is again manually, no? Very typical way to test, no? Manual, right? Or meron din po tayong tinatawag na paper prototyping, no? If you're trying to create a mobile application or a website, no? Why not draw it muna, no? Or sketch mo ano yung magiging itsura ng application mo. Ano yung nasa loob ng application mo. And then from there, pakita mo sa 1 to 5 to 10 persons, no? And get their feedback. Oy, Brad, ito yung app na naisip ko. No? Ito yung itsura niya sa loob, no? Ito yung website. Ito yung flow ng website, no? Ano sa tingin mo? Right? Paper prototyping is the cheapest way to validate your idea, no? Because how much do you need to create an application? Thousands, 100,000, 200 or 300, minsan millions pa, right? But with paper prototype, no, na ibibigay mo na sa kanila yung gusto mong ibigay, or parang you are helping them visualize the product already, no, without spending money, no. Now, kapag sinabi ni brother na, oy brother, parang pangit yung ganito, wag mo lagay dyan, no. Eh di bumili ka lang ulit ng another paper, no, i-drawing mo ulit, no. Oh Brad, na bago ko na, ano sa tingin mo? Right? So that's the paper prototyping. And then the last one, easiest way is of course interviews. No? But normally, interviews not super that effective. Na depende lang talaga siya sa ang daming considerations, no? If you wanna validate through interview, no? Because one, dapat tamang tao yung kinakausap mo. You cannot interview your friends and your family and your lovers, etc. Why? Because they are gonna be biased. They're gonna just say yes or yes lang sila ng yes. But rather, find the actual customer. No? Two is, dapat tama yung question na tinatanong mo. No? If not, medyo baka ma-mislead or ma-misinterpret nyo pa yung mga interviews. Ano? And when you do interviews, you know, normal lang naman. Again, prepare a good set of questions. Useful questions. Keep in mind the interview flow, no? Huwag kayo agad-agad magtatanong about your ano. And when doing interview, as much as possible, you hide your product, no? Or you don't bring up your product, no? Huwag niyo sabihin na, okay, may ganito kaming product. So tingin mo ganito ganyan, no? Wag, because you're trying to check first whether the problem is really a problem and ano yung view nila, because ano when you tell them na we have this product, no, parang you are already manipulating them or manipulating their answers, no, because diyan parang baka mahiyan lang sila sa iyo na maging no, rather than alam nila na okay, wala pang ganitong product at all, wala pang may planong gumawa na, so free flow, right? So when you're done with your again, validation, the main question is, lahat ba ng gusto nyong, or lahat ba ng assumption, or lahat ng palagay, or lahat ng hula na meron kayo, were proven true, or hindi? No. Nag-work ba? Or nagustuhan ba ng mga tao yung product nyo? Or na-validate nyo ba talaga na may problem? Or wala, no? Because if wala, again, pivot lang ng pivot, no? Because in startup, it's either you pivot or you perish. No? Kung sa tingin mong medyo alanganin pa talaga yung idea mo or medyo, alam mo yan, ang dami pang dapat asikasuhin, just pivot and pivot because that's really how the startup journey works now until you find the right formula. Okay? I hope I'm not discouraging you guys. I know you guys are all still students, even some of you are like parang is still in the junior and senior high school, But trust me, I mean, if you got the right formula, if you have the right um, attitude, no, the passion, the grit, no, if you have the energy and time, just do it, no. Especially during this time na sobrang dami ng supporter, no. You guys are very lucky because DICT-MC1 is very active in terms of supporting startups in your region, So why not take advantage of that, right? Because hindi natin alam, di ba, na um, especially sa upcoming election, no, baka mag-iba yung program or mag-iba yung priority. So make sure to take advantage of every opportunity that you guys have in your location, no. And in validating your idea, sobrang dami pang ways to validate it. The simplified validation board was just one, but there's also the javelin board, no. If you're really serious, again, go over the internet, find some tools to help you with that. All right. So again, the goal of a startup is to figure out the right thing to build, no? The thing customers want and will pay for as quickly as possible, no? And remember, validate even before you exert effort in building anything complicated, no? And again, everything you believe in the beginning are just assumptions and opinions unless you're gonna tell me it's validated. When you do interview, always take note of insights and feedbacks and recommendations and learn and incorporate learnings into the building and executing. Now, when validating, you have to learn how to unlearn for you to relearn. All right? Needed whenever you wanna create or you wanna present a startup na. So meaning this topic is basically all about, um, how to pitch your startup in front of either an investor or in front of either um, participants or in front of the judges and stuff like that. So basically, what I'm going to discuss is really what is a pitch, how do you pitch, what's inside the pitch deck, and tips on pitch delivery, especially if may mga sasabak sa inyo sa Philippine Startup Challenge, there definitely you're gonna have to pitch your idea in front of hundreds of audience, in front of the judges, possibly investors or different partners like corporates or organization. So this is what we're gonna cover for the pitch part of our session. And when we say pitch, ano ba talaga yung pitch? Let's start with the definition of pitch. If you're gonna try to assess what's happening in your life, every day in your life, you guys are actually pitching. Whether baon, you need to pitch, I need 100 pesos na baon, ma, because 30 pesos para sa aking pamasahe, 80 pesos para sa aking lunch, and 80 pesos. 50 pesos para sa aking lunch, and then 20 pesos para sa aking merienda. I need a computer, because I have a project that's gonna help. I have a school project that needs a computer. I need it for blah 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 and stuff like that. Every day in your life you pitch. But when we talk about startup pitch, this is really about presenting your business idea to potential customers, to partners, or to investors. Okay? So important note, a pitch should be clear, simple, and compelling, and I'll further elaborate on this later as we go through the presentation. When another thing about pitch is that it's actually accompanying tool to aid you in conveying your ideas in a clear and impactful way. So napaka-importante talaga siya sa isang startup, especially if you are joining a competition, if you are raising fund, and if you are meeting a potential partner, or funders for your startup, because mas madali na i-convey yung idea no, kapag may mga visual aids or visual presentations. No, okay. Now, some things to consider. Now, once you decided to work on your pitch, these three can dictate how you should prepare your pitch. No? Audience. Sino ba yung magiging audience mo? Is it really like mass or mga masa or mga general audience, no? Or judges, no? Or investor or partners, no? Sino yung audience mo when you pitch, no? It can also be channel, no? When you say channel, what method and how can you communicate, or what method and what communication channel will be available for you? Ano ba, magpipitch ka ba through online meeting or through physical, no? Or they are just asking you to send a printed copy of this and that, right? So those things that you need to check. No? And then of course, lastly is purpose. No? Para saan ka ba magpipitch? No? And most of the times, this is very important things that you need to consider. Ano yung purpose ng pitch mo? Because sometimes we pitch in terms of like just a general presentation, right? Usually, ang general presentation is really for users, for customers, and potential partners, no? And the goal of the general presentation is really to inform and help them understand about your product and service. The other purpose could be competition. Ano? Gusto mo sumali sa mga competition. No, if you wanted to join Philippine Startup Challenge or different hackathons, no, you highlight what makes you different in the competition and parang ipagyayabang mo kung anong meron ka. And the other one is yung medyo advanced na talaga is meeting potential investors. And usually, you're asking them for money, you're asking them for support, and you're asking them some things that you need to enable you achieve the goals of your business. Okay? Now, the pitch deck that we will be using today focuses mainly for competitions and investor meetings. Ano? More structured pitching, but you can adapt the concepts into different purposes that you may have in the future. All right? Now, ano ba yung nasa loob na isang pitch dapat? No? Kapag nagpipitch ang isang startup founder, what goes in their pitch? No? And we have 10 items here. No? 10 slides rather. No? So what goes into a pitch deck? No? 1 is the problem. 2 is solution. 3 is product. 4 is opportunity. 5 is business model. 6 is competition. 7 is traction and validation. 8 is market strategy. 9 is the ask. And 10 is the team. No? So normally daw kapag sasali sa competition, kapag you're asking for investment and you're meeting investors, ito yung laman ng isang pitch deck. No? And if we try to break it down to parts, no, this is how it's gonna look like. All right. When we say problem and solution and product, that's the overview of your business. No? When we talk about opportunity, business model, and competition, that's all about the market. And then status is all about the traction and validation, the market strategy, and then the ask of your team. No, kung ano ba yung kailangan nyo gusto, or kung ano ba yung gusto nyo mangyari. Okay? So you have to tell a story and really engage people through your pitch deck. No? Everyone loves to hear stories, even the investors, to tell an exciting story about your startup. So ito yung talagang main main parts of your pitch, no? And kung sa tingin niyo mahirap siya, madali lang talaga siyang gawin if you are really serious about it, no? Before I start, or before going through each of them one by one, no, I wanna show you guys a sample pitch, no, of an actual startup in the Philippines, no. They called ACADS, no. And the founder that you're gonna hear is Angelica Mercado, no. So this is like really a sample. I want you to listen carefully and try to spot some of the content components we are looking for. Okay?
Hi, I'm Angela, and we are ACADS. Tutorials have played a vital role in many students' education, but the usual process of finding a tutor isn't perfect. Private home-based tutors are hard to find and usually cost more. The alternative would be to go to tutorial centers, but their group learning is less personalized and traffic might be an issue for parents. Online tutorial companies have also emerged during the pandemic, but they have unorganized booking systems and few modes of payment. This could be confusing and time-consuming for busy parents who wouldn't want to go through multiple platforms to just book a tutor. This is where ACADS comes in. We want to make it easy for parents to find online tutors for their kids by combining the booking process, video call, and online payments all into one platform and matching parents with the right tutors. The ACADS business model is commission-based, so our revenue will come from each online tutorial session or bundle. We're giving a free 1-hour trial to first-time users. Once they've used up the free hour, the subsequent 1-hour sessions are 549 pesos. We plan to create bundle deals for parents at 4,999 for 10 hours and later 7,199 for 15 hours. Since parents pay 449 to 549 per hour, 300 pesos goes to the tutor and about 150 to 250 pesos goes to us. Our target market is parents of grade school and high school kids. Specifically, we are looking at the busy mothers struggling at balancing work from home and helping their kids with their studies. They're usually the ones finding tutors for their kids. To get to them, ACADS focuses on social media and influencer marketing. We've partnered and contacted a couple of mommy bloggers to test our service and write about us, and also post on Facebook, Instagram, and Viber. As for our current market, with 2.2 million grade school and high school students in private schools in the Philippines, the tutoring industry is worth 2.11 billion pesos a year based on our estimates. In terms of competition, tutoring centers have been around for a while, and many transitioned to provide online sessions. There's also competition in tutor marketplaces. However, having the parents search for tutors themselves can inconvenience them, making the ACADS tutor matching process more viable and intuitive. We have onboarded more than 30 online tutors that are mostly college students and fresh graduates, and we plan on partnering with 150 more. These tutors have gone through our vetting process and are carefully looked after through our customer feedback and our review systems to ensure that they are teaching effectively and competently. Ever since we started last June, we've had around 87 sessions. We also want to emphasize that many of our tutors are scholars and academic achievers who earn extra allowance to help support themselves. Furthermore, our online presence means our tutors from different provinces don't have to worry about location and transportation anymore. In 3 simple steps, parents can find a tutor. First, the parent buys hours that will be credited to their account. There are multiple ways they can pay: credit card, e-wallet, over-the-counter payments, or bank transfer. Next, they'll fill out the booking form with their child's year level, subject, topic, and available dates and times for the session. They may send coverage materials to help the tutor as well. Through our data matching system, tutors who are eligible to teach the student based on those details are notified, and the first tutor to accept gets the booking. Lastly, come session time, the parent and tutor will be notified via text and will join this online session with the click of a button using Zoom. ACADS also has a chat function so parents and tutors can discuss before the tutorial session. Aside from this, parents have the option to include a tutor in their favorite tutors list, which allows them to send a session request directly to that tutor. So just a little about the team. We are four young yet dedicated individuals. So we're fresh graduates of the BS IT Entrepreneurship Program of Ateneo de Manila. Apa was part of the founding team who created ITE's home organization, Byte. He currently handles tutoring operations as well as tutor acquisition. Pao is currently taking a full stack web development course. So he developed the front end side of the ACADS prototype, and he currently handles parent and tutor relations. Charles is currently also taking a full stack web development course, and in the past, he has tutored some students in math. He is currently in charge of finance and administrative work. Lastly, me, I am Angela, and I co-founded Byte together with Charles and Apa. I was also its president during its second year. And right now, I'm in charge of ACADS marketing, and I'm currently learning UX UI. You may contact us via cell phone, email, or our social media pages over here. Thank you for listening. We are Angela, Apa, Charles, and Pao, and this is ACADS, tutoring made for you.
All right.
Hi, I'm
So if you guys listen to that 5 minutes or more pitch ni Angela, no, let's try to identify the problem, or I'll explain how are you gonna attack or discuss the problem, solution, and product, or give an overview of your product or if you're a startup. First is the problem. Kanina pa natin pinag-uusapan yung problem, no? But how do you really share or parang report or present it to the audience? Again, the goal of the problem side is really to show what your startup is trying to solve. No, Why do we need to discuss the problem? Because the most successful startups have built a product or service that solves consumers' problem. And this is the first thing that the investors would really want to see. Ano ba yung lagi nyo, ano ba yung gusto nyo i-solve, right? What is the gap that you're feeling? What's the pain that you're trying to solve? And what is the current methods or problematic methods that you have, no, that's related to your concern, no? Dun sa side ni Angela, no, they mentioned that finding a tutor is a bit difficult right now. So that's really the problem statement that we have now. Because there are a lot of steps, there are a lot of complicated processes for finding an appropriate tutor. And if it's a face-to-face, you have to really pay for extra transportation. You have to go through different traffic, etc. Now. So they identified some pain points that are being experienced now in finding a tutor for your kid or for you guys. No, so that's the context on why they exist and why they go through their project. Okay. Also notice how simple the problem slide has been laid out on the presentation. No? 4 simple bullets, no, or 4 simple shapes with straight to the point design. No, this is basically enough to portray the problem. No? So normally either you do this or pwede maghanap kayo ng picture about the problem. And let's just explain it. No? Sabi nga nila, a picture paints 1,000 of words. So 1,000 words rather. So why not do that, right? You don't need to spend 2 minutes to talk about your problem or 3 or 4 minutes, no? But just summarize the problem that you are tackling. Use short and to the point and down to earth statements, no? Like what ACADS did. Next is the solution. When we say solution, again, after the problem is the solution. Ito yung dapat na step by step talaga eh. Ano yung problem, ano yung solution that you offer? Once you were able to establish the problem sa mga utak ng mga listeners ninyo, then batuhin nyo sila ng solution. No? Parang ang dapat na mangyari sa utak nila or tumatakbo sa mga utak nila na, oo nga, ito pala yung problem, ano, totoo pala yung problem. Then kapag binato mo sila ng solution, oh, it makes sense. Mga ganong klaseng realization na, okay, it does solve the problem. It makes sense na meron ganitong problem. It makes sense na may ganitong solution because ito yung problem na in-offer, na shinare ninyo sa kanila. The goal of the solution slide is to show that you know what the problem is and what the solution is and what the proper solution is to solve that problem. No. Hindi nyo kailangan bigla na lang sasabihin nyo na this is the problem and we are creating an application or website. Hindi dapat yun. No. You don't necessarily need to go directly to your tech, no? But rather, how do you solve a problem, right? Remember, people don't care about your business. No? They care about their problem and be the solution that they are looking for. Okay? So how do you how do you plan to solve the problem? That's the main key. Why is it valuable now? And what is the cause and effect of your service and product, no? Na kapag ginawa mo to, ano yung mangyayari? Ano yung effect, right? Kapag nagawa mo or na-deliver mo yung service and yung product mo to the market. All right? So in the case of ACADS, they want to make it easy for parents to find tutors for their kids by combining the booking process, video call, and online payments all into one platform. Highlight how they aim to solve each of identified problems. No? For your solution, it's important to talk about the benefits of your product first rather than the features of your product. No? Clear value add muna. No? Ano ba talaga yung gift of your product, no? Before you discuss the features later on. All right? That's the second. Now, third is then therefore discuss the product. Right? Ano yung product na in-offer mo, no? Gets nyo? Ito yung problem, ito yung solution, ito yung product. That's the overview that you want to set at the start of the pitch. Okay? Now, ano yung itsura ng product mo, no? Ano yung use and benefits of your product? Highlight the feature and show your product in action, either a video or a GIF or a picture of your product. No? Kung wala pa, pwede naman yung MVP, pwede naman yung prototype. No? Nasa sa inyo pa rin yan. How are you gonna convey your product? Okay? Kapag application, pwede lang prototype. Kung ano yung na-imagine nyo na itsura ng app, then present it. No? It doesn't have to be the actual app, but really more on parang helping them visualize ano yung itsura ng product nyo. Okay? Now, in the case of what's this? ACADS, no? Show the demo. And if you are a process or a product innovation, ano yung special sa loob ng inyong product? That gives more value to your customer, no? They in the case of ACADS, they had shown how the product works and its functionalities, no? So meron diyang how to parang magkano per hour, how to book a session, and how to connect with your tutor. Okay? So yun yung pinaka-importante when you talk about your product. Okay? Do not talk about highfalutin stuff or parang scientific process on how creating the product because wala silang pakialam dyan. When you pitch, it's all about business. They talk about business. They don't talk about chemistry, physics, or what, unless it's very important din naman kasi na to understand how it works. No? Pero it's normally business talaga. Paano nag-work yung business mo? Paano nag-work yung product mo? So that's basically the overview, no? A big picture of problem, then simplified benefit for your customers, and how do you plan to give that to your product users? All right? Next part is the market. No? We talk about opportunity, business model, and competition. So now that you set the bar, no, alam na nila kung ano yung problem, ano yung solution, and ano yung market mo. No? The next thing that you need to do is to discuss the opportunity, no, and the business model and the competition. When we say opportunity or market opportunity, sino ba yung mga ka-benefit nito? Sino ba yung tina-target mo? No? So example ko kanina, during the validation, we talk about mothers, no, na nasa 30s who just had the baby. That is my target customer. So kung ako gagawa ng pitch, no, maglalagay ako ng picture dyan ng mga mothers na nasa 30s who just had the baby, no. And I'll identify what's their problem, no. Ano yung opportunity that I want to solve or opportunity that I want to address moving forward, no. Indicate the possible market size and value if you can. Say for example, I am targeting students in Zamboanga City. Ilang students ang pinag-uusapan natin? I am targeting mothers who just had the 30s. Ilang mothers ang pinag-uusapan natin? Libo ba or million ba? Ano? And value. Like, pag nakuha mo tong, pag na-capture mo tong millions of mothers, no? Ano yung value na mapoprovide mo, no? Ano yung income na mapoprovide mo? So that's the opportunity that we are talking about, no? Quick review again, how do you identify customer? When we say customer, these are groups of people that you aim to provide value for. Sila yung gagamit ng product mo. And your goal is to really understand them. No? How do you parang identify your customer? It's either geographic, demographic, psychographic, or behavioral. No? Yung kanina, yung ginamit ko was really demographics. The age, the gender, yung aking pinag-usapan, and family at life stage. No? Hindi ko pinag-usapan kung saan sila nakatira, kung anong trabaho nila, kung ano yung lifestyle nila, kung ano yung personality nila, kung ano yung behavior nila, and stuff like that. No? Nag-focus lang ako sa age, sa gender, and the family and life stage. And social status. No? Social status nila, married, right? Kasi mothers on 30s nga, di ba? Or pwedeng hindi rin, right? So, in your case, try to identify as much as possible or be specific as much as possible in terms of like your customer segment. Ayaw natin sabihin na, sir, ang customer namin ay student. No? Bakit? Paano student? Kasi anong classification of student? Because we talk about, when we say student, we are talking about kinder 1 to master or doctorate degree. No? When we talk about students, iba-iba yung course niyan. Iba-iba yung schools niyan. Iba-iba yung tirahan niyan. Iba-iba yung family lifestyle nila, right? Try to identify those parts when you are identifying or checking your students. Okay? You also have to choose your target properly. No? Bakit kailangan natin? No? You need to profile them. Bakit natin kailangan sabihin sa kanila na, okay, ito yung profile of my customer? It's important because it's gonna give them an idea na may katutunguhan ba talaga to or what. No? It's gonna clear the picture in their minds, right? No? Because again, you have a very limited resources and time and money. So dealing with a larger market or a larger population might be stressful for startup team. And again, you are building under a presumed business. No? And you get to build what's necessary by understanding them. No? Sa case niyo, kapag pin-profile niyo yung customer ninyo, mas madali kayong mag-validate. No? Alam niyo kung sino nilalapitan agad. It saves you time. Okay? In the case of ACADS, no, they mentioned na the current market that they're trying to solve is 2.11. I mean, yung value ng tutorial fees or revenue or income in the Philippine tutoring industry is 2.11 billion. No? So they didn't mention kung ano ba, sino ba yung target nila. No? Because they already passed it eh. Kasi I would assume na yung presentation na nakita nyo kanina was really meant for investment. No? And normally kapag investment na yan, talagang pera yung pinag-uusapan dyan. No? Na kapag na-launch mo to, yung business na to, magkano yung possible na income na pwede mong mag-generate. No? Or ano yung market value that you can generate. In the case of ACADS, 2.11 billion daw yung current market sa Philippine tutoring industry. No? It was a bit general, yes. No? But if you can always try to go to yung mga other data websites na makakatulong sa inyo. No? And excuse me. Normally, ginagamit ng isang startup founder itong tinatawag na TAM Samsung. Now, this is a bit advanced, no? And hindi niyo siya ma-appreciate kung wala talaga kayong startup, no? But what we're trying to say here is when you pitch, try first to identify parang ano yung total market na pwede mo ma-capture versus yung market na serviceable or pwede mong talagang gumamit ng product mo. Because while, for example, your total market would be students, right? Pero yung serviceable, available market mo lang will be students in Zamboanga City. No? And yung SOM mo, no, or your serviceable, obtainable market is parang the portion of the sum that you can capture. No? For example, again, your TAM is students in the Philippines, or sorry, students in Zamboanga City. No? 100 million, hindi naman 100 million. 2 million students in Zamboanga City. Then your sum or yung parang available market lang for you is parang 1 million students in na taking up engineering courses. No? And then your SOM is parang out of the 1 million engineering students, ano parang 1 million engineering students in Zamboanga City that is under their fourth year college or taking up thesis or doing their OJT. So that's how you parang present your what's this? Market. No? Simula ka muna sa malaki, papaliit ng papaliit. Okay? Then we have the business model. No? Kanina pa rin natin pinag-usapan yung business model. And when we say business model, paano kayo kikita? Importante rin sa investor kung paano kayo kikita. Kung naniningil ka or kung merong magbebenta ka, ano yung price mo? How are you gonna earn revenue? No? How are you gonna make margins or average account size? Okay? So sa side ni ACADS, pinakita nila kung paano sila kikita. No? Pinakita din nila kung sino yung magbabayad. No? Like ano yung margin nila or parang income nila. No? Like parents pay 499 and then may commission sila na 150 to 250. No? It's very important for you to know kung magkano ba yung kikitain mo or magkano yung pricing na ibibigay mo. No? Also, quick note na there's always a discussion on users versus customers, right? Sorry. Oftentimes medyo nakakalito na user, sino Sino ba yung customer? But the good example here is that everyone has a Facebook for sure. If you are not paying using the Facebook, then you are just a user. No. But if you're paying for advertisement and stuff like that, you are their customer. So ibig sabihin, majority of the Facebook users are like users lang and not customers. That's how simple it is. No? User, sila yung gumagamit, nakaka-benefit, but not necessarily nagbabayad. Customer, sila yung nagbabayad. Okay? Then talk about competition. When we say competition, don't tell the judges na wala kaming competitor. Kami pa lang yung una nakaisip nito because 99.9% there is someone doing the same like you. Okay? Every business has competition. So it's also important that you identify the business competitors or your competitors in your space. No? And once you identify your competitors, no, ano yung advantage mo with them? No? Kumbaga, kung may nanliligaw sa'yo ng dalawa, no? Kung nanliligaw ka rather, ano yung advantage mo ano yung advantage mo compared dun sa other person? Mas mayaman ako, mas gwapo ako, mas matangkad ako, mas maputi ako, or what? Right? But in business, no, ano yung competitive advantage mo? How are you different, no, from the competitors, ano? If you're gonna take a look at the ACAD's presentation, right? Ito yung how they presented their competition, right? Kinumpare nila yung tutorial centers versus tutorial marketplaces, no? And tried to parang identify ano yung mga mas feature, no? Like ito yung mas okay, mas maganda, mas effective, and mas efficient, no? You can also present your competition like this, no? Ito yung tinatawag nating two-axis diagram. Like you identify the affordability versus sino mas affordable versus expensive, sino yung nag-offer ng ganito or hindi nag-offer ng ganito, no? Then this is very clear way to present your competition. Other than that, pwede rin ganito, no? Highlight your feature, like first to market, easy of use, very convenient, handmade, parang supporting local MSME, supporting indigenous people, secured, safe, and stuff like that. No? Again, ang goal mo sa competition mo is siraan mo yung competitors mo and identify kung ano yung mas better sa kanila, mas better na wala sila at meron kayo. Okay? But you have to be valid, of course. No? And then the last part will be the status. No? Ano yung status ng business mo? Like, are you in the early stage or are you already parang trying to raise funding or what? Right? What's your traction and validation? What's your market strategy? And what's the ask in the team? All right? So, in terms of the traction, ang gusto lang natin sabihin here is that ano na yung meron kayo right now? No? Sa case ni ACADS, no, they already have 36 tutors in their database. That was 2020, no? We are not sure how many na right now meron sila. And they already conducted 87 sessions, no? So across the Philippines. So that's their traction. Sa inyo, ano yung traction ninyo? It can also be the validation result, right? We talked to 100 people. We launched our website, we launched our Facebook page, we launched our blah, blah, blah. No? Ano na yung meron kayo na pwede ninyong ipagmayabang? That's gonna help you, the investors and the listeners think na, ay, seryoso to. Uy, nag-start na sila at meron na silang ganitong traction or result. No? And then your market strategy. When we see a market strategy, ano ba yung plano natin to acquire the 1 million students that we mentioned? No? How will they know we exist? What is your marketing strategy? No? What will your sales process look like? No? Sa case ni ACADS, paano nila sinabi? No? They are gonna tap different parenting and mommy communities. No? They are gonna tap influencer moms. They're gonna tap Facebook Instagram, Viber blogs to promote. No? But other than that, you can also create a 2-year plan or a roadmap, no, from getting 0 to 100 customers. No, that's also a good idea on how to discuss your market and strategy. And then the ask, no, the second to the final. But normally, again, the ask is all about when you pitch for investment. But if not, no, kapag competition lang yan, you don't need to tell them what's the ask, but rather, what do you need moving forward? No? When you say the ask, this is really parang the call to action. No? Pag nagpe-present ka sa, if it's the general presentation, your ask or your call to action could be, our application is already available in App Store and Google Store. Please download it after the session. Or sign up in our newsletter to get more updates. No? But if you are requesting for investment, no, your ask could look like, we are asking for 3 million pesos that's going to help us for research and development, expand our team, and launch our product to the market. No? Normally, if that's going to be the case, how much money are you raising? How much of the company will the investors get? No? Importante din yan. Kapag nag-invest ako ng 3 million, ano yung balik sa akin? No? Okay, sir, you can take 2% of my company. Or babalik ko sa iyo yung 3 million mo with 10% interest by 3 years. Mga ganun stuff. No? And then how will you spend the investment? Pag sinabi mong 3 million, ready mo na yung sarili mo na i-explain para saan yung 3 million. No? Pwedeng to develop app, pwedeng to hire people, pwedeng to for rentals, for research and development, and stuff like that. Okay? Now, this is kind of like a sample, no, of how you can parang explain your ask. Or this plan too, no. It would also be helpful to also again explain where you will use the funds, no. Either pag-create ng pag-develop ng platform, pag-hire, and stuff like that. So how does competition affect a business negatively, sir? How does competition affect a business negatively? If what do you mean? I'm not sure what you wanna ask about the pitch, no. But based from your question, Kent, Brian, Gaan, the competition affect a business negatively if of course, no, kapag bago ka pa lang, tapos yung competitors mo ay like giant na, no, mga big organizations na, it's gonna affect you negatively because they can easily eat you out, no, kapag wala kang better solution or better feature, no, compared to your competitors, then therefore, as a customer, doon na lang ako sa mas maganda. Doon na lang ako sa mas tested. No? Doon na lang ako sa mas may reputasyon. And that is why you need to identify your competitors and compare yourselves to them. No? Okay? Okay. And then the last one, na medyo ano rin, medyo nakakalimutan natin or medyo hindi natin nabibigyan ng pansin is the last slide, no? The team. Of course, you should not forget about this slide. The team slide is included in almost every pitch deck example and outline. And for good reason, investors consistently say the team is one of the top reason or criteria why they invest. Okay? The investors wanted to know if the team is the right team with the right skills and resources to ensure that their investment will may kapupuntahan. So pag nagpe-present din kayo in the competition kind of pitch, bakit kayo yung dapat na manalo? No? Or bakit kayo yung right person to do this job? No? Why are you and your team the right people? List down your founders. What's their role? What are their experiences? If you have board of directors, if you have advisors, put them in that specific slide. No. Now, here's the thing. Hindi nyo naman kailangan ilagay sa slide nyo na Juan de la Cruz is the hustler. Another person is the hipster. Another person is the hacker. No, not that kind of role that I mean. No. When I say role, ano yung magiging role niya sa business mo? Si person A, siya po yung aming developer and UX and UI designer, like this one. Si person B, siya yung business development and brand. Si person C, siya yung user interface, PR, and stuff like that. No? And ano yung expertise nila? With 10 years of experience in watching Netflix, no? With 5 years of experience sleeping, with 20 years of experience, ano ba? Ano bang experience? No? Ano yung experience nila? Try to also put them here. No? Kahit student pa rin kayo, just put it there. No? Experience in handling events for 2 years, stuff like that. No? Have been a leader in my porok, no? And stuff like that. Please put it in the team. Hindi nilalagay na hustler, hacker, hipster dyan. But rather the role, the experience, and the background. Okay? So again, this is not a formula, no? But always be aware of your purpose and make sure you are clear on that so you will know what kind of pitch you're gonna create moving forward. And if you're gonna join PSC, no, I think this is a better um, requirement. Just put the problem description, solution, product features, target market, business model, progress and traction, and then the ask. No? Or kahit wala ning the ask, no? Sorry, this shouldn't be the ask, but rather the team. Okay, put here the team. Medyo na-error lang siya. Okay. Now, in terms of presenting, I'm down to my final slides. Again, this is very parang madaling intindihan and common sense lang pala. Prepare, be basics or be simple, tell a narrative, tell a story. No, hindi yung nagbabasa lang kayo sa screen, and connect with your audience. No, that's also important. No, whenever you are like presenting or pitching a startup, no, like 2 days or 1 hour, 2 hours before, try to pitch solo. No, sorry, this is during the actual pala, no. If you are already in the stage, no, and meron kayong team, tapos nag-decide kayo, ano ba, mag-pitch ba kami lahat or what? Ang pinaka-recommended or pinaka-ideal is to pitch solo. Okay? Dapat mag-isa lang kayo. It's better to pitch solo. Para wala nang kaek-ekan or wala nang, alam mo yun, mga rehearsal or practice. No unnecessary movements or filler sounds as much as possible. Online logistics, they make sure na kapag nagpipitch naman kayo sa Zoom, no, set up your background, set up your audio, make sure you have a good video or self-image, no. And then prepare in terms of like knowing your audience, sino ba yung kakausapin namin, no? And know your presentation by heart. Remember, kayo lang yung nakakaalam ng ipe-present nyo sa room. At walang may kaalam-alam, walang yung iba na nanonood, hindi nila alam kung ano ipe-present nyo. So you can always go your way. All right? And then anticipate questions. Before you go to the stage, no, try to just formulate some questions in mind na maaari nilang itanong. No? And prepare for that one. Okay. And then tell a narrative. Again, just make sure you are telling a story. Don't read and stay focused. Mas maganda na nakikipag-usap or nakikipagkwentuhan lang talaga kayo rather than nagbabasa. All right. Of course, be enthusiastic, make eye contact, and relax. And at the end of the day, we're looking for a simple, concise, and exciting story for your pitch.
My second week of...
Okay. So I guess that's it for me. And really, the next step is to attend pitching competition, watch different pitching competition, and practice and practice and practice. Okay. So with that, 45 minutes to discuss Q pitching. And we are at 4:43. I think meron pang time to discuss PSC. And with that, I'd like to thank everyone who participated in this session. I don't see any questions, so I'll stay pa naman up until the closing. If ever meron tayong questions, feel free to ask. But again, thank you so much to now 290, kanina 390 yan. to the 290 participants that we have here. And I hope that you guys learned something new. If you guys have any question, feel free to email me or email us at hello@kubo.com.ph. We are very active in terms of our Facebook and website, and almost every week, meron kami activity to support you. So visit www.kubo.com.ph or search us on Facebook at Kubo Philippines. So with that, muchas gracias rather. Um, and daghan salamat sa tanan and stay safe everyone.